Okay.
Yep, we're
Hi,
live.
everyone. Thank you so much, Jacob and Carlos, for joining me. We're just waiting for Marty to come on and join us as well. Marty Pettiford, she's actually located in Atlanta, Georgia, and today's her closing date for her brand new property that she's moving into, a brand new house, new build. So she has to get her internet up and running. I know that she mentioned that to us earlier. So we'll just patiently wait for her to join us and she can just jump in the conversation because she has some really good insights and schedule to share with us. So I would love for her to join. So just to give everybody kind of an overview, and then we'll get into some introduction, and then we'll go around and just share some of our schedules as well. But today, I wanted to let you guys know that what you're hearing is our realtor prospecting schedule. So we have different agents here from different parts of North America. I'm tuning in from Toronto, the greater Toronto area. So is Carlos, and Jacob is actually in Houston, Texas. And we're going to have Marty join us from Atlanta, Georgia. And what's really interesting is that we all have different aspects in our real estate that we're taking on, and we have different schedules, and how we're using our schedule in terms of prospecting, revenue generating activity is really interesting. And when we started talking about it as a group, it occurred to us that a lot of real estate agents are looking to see what kind of discipline and schedule other people are on, and kind of a daily routine and workflow schedule. So it was really important that we came on here and start sharing some of the ways that we're working, and we wanted other people to kind of jump in and share some of their ideas as well in the future. But to start off, I'll do a quick intro, and then we'll go around giving an intro for everybody as well. So just to let everybody know, my name is Tharmila Rajasingam. Once again, I'm located in Toronto, Canada. And if you are following me on social media, you'll notice that my husband and I were real estate partners. So it's interesting to be self-employed, be an entrepreneur with your partner in the same industry. So I'll touch upon that as well when it comes to our scheduling and how I include my partner in all of this. And we are real estate investors. We have 2 young children. So when I actually got into the industry, it was so when I was an investor, I didn't have my license yet. And it's interesting because that was then when um, it was funny because this is before having children. And you guys know this, that before having children, especially Carlos, I know you can relate. And I know when Marty joins in, she has 2 young children as well. So it kind of changes the way you do things when you have children added to the mix. And more recently, when I was pregnant and on mat leave, actually, I started taking my real estate exam because my husband and I wanted to get into the industry and have more access to information of properties so that we can do our own joint venture deals, etc. And then everything changed, obviously, when we joined EXP Realty. And once we found out all the opportunity that this amazing, life-changing, and powerful, incredibly powerful brokerage model did for us. So, but anyways, going back to kind of how we got into the industry, it's really juggling different aspects of our life, right? Family, full-time job. I was still working at my government job, doing marketing consultation, full-time hours, and then having to juggle 2 young babies. And on top of that, starting a brand new career of some sort, and also really starting to build my real estate business also on a part-time basis. And on top of that real estate business, selling property was one thing. I was also building my team, and having to work with all of you on a weekly basis was another. So those are some of the things that I was juggling. And the other one big aspect to this that I was missing out is that Jacob and I started a marketing agency above and on top of that last year. So that added to the mix. So we'll talk a little bit about how all of that fits in, but I'm going to hand over it to Jacob. Why don't you give us a little bit of introduction and tell us everything that you're juggling?
There's a list. Um, so my name is Jacob Charman. I am a realtor with eXp Realty here in Houston, Texas. And like Tharmila said, we're also business partners with a marketing company. My entire background is digital marketing. I have been in business for myself for almost 10 years, and I've been in digital marketing for over 14 years, and more emphasis on the web design side. And I got into real estate because, one, I love the entrepreneur side of everything. I love businesses. I'm always into other streams of income, whether it's passive or active. And my husband actually is in property management for multifamily housing, and he wanted to get out and started kind of have more of a flexible schedule like I did. And he decided he wanted to get his real estate license. So we decided it was a great idea for both of us to do it. And in that process, I got my license before him. I found our brokerage and the opportunities to build a business there, like a real estate business. And I told him, oh, this is the brokerage we're joining. As soon as you get your license, this is where we're going. And I started hitting the ground running and prospecting and building my team as well. And in in the midst of all that, meeting Tharmila and then expounding on the marketing company they already had and bringing her in. And we built something great for real estate agents, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit, to help with their social media. And so that's kind of what I've been doing, juggling all of that, building a new product and company with her, and still trying to do the actual real estate side of business, as well as build a team inside of EXP as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. And now let's go to Carlos. And why don't you introduce yourself, give us a little bit of a background of everything that you're juggling as well.
Sure, yeah, thank you. So hi, everyone. My name is Carlos Petrasanta. I am currently newly licensed, I would say about 5 months or so. I started doing real estate. I did my registry, my licensee through the pandemic. Currently, I work full time at a financial institution. I have 2 teenage daughters, so that pretty much keeps me really busy. I work 9 to 5, and I decided to do my license because I'm like, you know what, I think it's time. During, in the pandemic and whatnot, working from home, I really was so bored, right? Like working from home and trying to keep myself busy. So I'm like, I think it's time for me to do my real estate license. I was always interested in real estate, looking into real estate, how to get into it. This was, in my younger years. Now, as I've grown up and I've matured, I'm like, I think it's time. It's either now or never, especially how, the world is working nowadays. So I decided that it was time for me to put some discipline into myself and just go for it and do it. And that's pretty much now what I'm trying to do, even with my prospecting, is just pretty much having that discipline, right? And being able to put that into my scheduling and then just doing what I say that I'm going to do. But I think that's kind of like working a 9 to 5 in a corporate world. You kind of like have someone on top of you telling you, hey, you have to do this. Hey, you have to do that. But in real estate, it's completely different. You make your hours and you make your business. So being able to have like that discipline and incorporate that into, again, whether it's part-time or full-time, that's been like a big eye opener for me. So I'm super excited to get talking about, our different plans and how we just go about in real estate. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carlos. And yay, Marty, thanks so much for joining us.
Okay, finally.
I was telling everyone that today she closed on her property, her first home. And it's brand new built home. And she's actually located in Atlanta. So she had some internet connection. So of course, I'm really glad. I know, I'm so happy. Are you there right now?
No, I'm not there right now.
Oh man, how did it go?
It went good. It was my second house. But it's my first closing as a realtor. So
yay!
I'm excited. So yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I'm Marty Pettiford. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, with eXp Realty, and I am a part-time agent right now. So I feel like in this moment right now, I feel like a full-time agent because I've been out of work since Christmas Eve due to sickness, and then I was on vacation right after. So I just took this whole time, the whole 2 weeks. I think it's like 3 weeks actually, to just focus on my career and try different things and hit the ground running for 2020. So normally I'm part-time retail management. I have 2 kids, a son, 3-year-old, and then a daughter who's 10 months old. So I'm very busy with that. I'm married with a husband. He owns his own media company. And I should say it's like a family venture. And he actually helps me. He's very influential with my marketing and everything with my real estate career. So that is pretty much it about me.
Yeah. And obviously, as you guys can all see, we brought together people with so many different aspects of their lives that they're dealing with, and they're not just working on real estate, as you can see. And that's why it was really important we brought all of you guys together, because some of you have family, some of you live in a different part, you have your own, some of us have investment properties, we're looking into getting investments, some of us are full-time, part-time, and we're juggling on multiple different priorities. And this is where not only can you stay motivated, but sometimes people get discouraged, right? And all of us are really, what I love about all of us is, and I've had multiple conversations with you. We were on Clubhouse a couple of weeks ago talking about this idea of having this mindset switch, almost like a shift for the new year. And I love that we were all on the same page about some of the things what we were thinking. And I think that's why it's so good, all of us kind of coming together and talking about this. And so today we're going to be talking a little bit about, now that you understand kind of all the things that we're juggling with, now I want to go into kind of what does your daily schedule looks like, and if obviously if day to day if something changes, I would love to hear that as well. So I'll start off and give you kind of a little bit of an overview of some of what my schedule looks like, and I've showed it to you guys before. I break my schedule. My every single day looks the same in terms of breakout, and obviously Marty can attest to this. When you have children like mine, I also have two little ones, 18-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and super active children. And with daycare, we just literally put them in daycare with our nanny, being out of the country, and with COVID, to our province just entered lockdown again. So constantly there's if there's a case again, they'll close and they'll open up. So Josh and I, our schedule is all over the place. So as you guys know, like juggling that is the most, like my family always come above everything else. Usually if you have appointments, meeting, and if I have to attend to my children, I would usually cancel them, or Josh has to come in and take them on, depending on what we're both juggling with. So right now my schedule is, I kind of broke it down into 4 categories. So our morning time is, when we deal with when we wake up, drop off our kids at daycare. And you guys know I'm a huge believer in prayers, visualization, and really looking at Josh and I actually have coffee and we look at our vision board every single morning so that we're on the same page. We actually made our vision board and goals together because we are in the same industry. We're a family. We're working towards one goal. I even literally, to the point, we even printed pictures of what our future home would look like, because I have certain pictures and I don't want Josh to be like, I wasn't picturing that. Then are we working towards 2 different goals? And it's I'm like, this is it, right, Josh? This is the type of backyard you wanted. Anyway, so that's kind of our morning goes. And then around 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and even that, we actually go for walks together. Now that when we drop our kids off at daycare, you'll notice on our stories we would post about going around, and we live closer to the waterfront, so it's really nice. Even during the cold time, it's just so beautiful to be out. So we try to get a really nice brisk walk in the morning, and then we head back around 9:30, 10. And this is where I jump into, literally, this is where my income producing activity happens. And the moment I kind of carve out income producing, like revenue time, all of my like checking emails, checking social media were all put to my admin time. Like that's why it was so important that I carved that out. So my revenue time includes, and you have to be really careful with, does this make me money? I meet up with prospecting. So as you guys know, I'm into agent attraction. I'm building my team, and I'm also doing production and sales. So this is where we do follow-ups with our clients. This is where we're cold calling. This is where I'm having my actual Zoom calls with my agents. This is where I'm actually managing ads. I'm either writing scripts and I'm recording, but editing is separate because I give that to somebody else. Even uploading those, I consider admin work. So anything to do with writing scripts and filming, that's revenue time for me. And even sometimes like creating reels or something like that. But sometimes if it takes too much time, I try to leave that for the evening, because there's sometimes I rather follow up with my clients because they're awake right now, right? So instead of waiting to do that. So that's kind of my revenue time. And then my admin time is where I check emails, I attend to missed calls, my comments on social media, especially like YouTube, for example. You want to attend to them and acknowledge those comments. And then updating our CRM. You guys know I'm huge on CRM. It's like literally the nucleus to everything I do. kvCORE and CRM Grow, I use it for my agent attraction, kvCORE for our production, and this is where we check notification, etc. And then I also started doing this, and Jacob knows this, I usually had it in my calendar always, but Jacob and I there were times him and I were working literally for 12 hours together, and I would literally miss these parts and be like, sorry, Josh, can you take care of the kids? And I would keep working. And now, at the end of last year, I really started putting in personal time and putting in family time, really spending time with my children when they go to bed, because I don't know, sometimes when as you guys know, when you're going into the entrepreneurial life, you kind of miss out on all the things that are important. And that's why you see me constantly posting about the things that really matter. And I keep saying that really out loud so that I can follow that. So that's kind of what my daily routine workflow looks like. So I'll pass it on to Jacob. If you can kind of walk us through what your daily or weekly schedule looks like, that would be great.
Yeah, for me, every day is an adventure. So it's never, for me, it's never the same thing because of everything that we have our hands into. Originally, when I started out as a realtor, my husband was still working his full-time job. So he recently just left a few months ago. And so to kind of piggyback on what you were saying with personal time, it is a huge thing that we even talked about this at the end of last year, is that we had to set some boundaries because we were working till like 2 a.m. sometimes, and trying to get things done, whether it was on team building, building, our marketing companies. So for us, when we reevaluated kind of what we were doing this year, I had to put in family time because a lot of times by the time I finished meetings, it was 7 or 8 o'clock. We'd make dinner. And then literally my husband was going to bed because he gets up super early to go to work. And so it was just no time. Or I'd say, oh, I'm going to do this call for 20 minutes. And the 20-minute call turned into an hour. So to make a better schedule for us this year, especially with him off, and we're both sometimes at home at the same time, which we're not used to. So when you're working with your spouses, make sure you set up time to be away from each other, because you will kind of, just like during COVID, everybody just realized whether they wanted to stay together or get a divorce. So you really have to do it. And two, when you're working with a spouse too, like you have to realize they don't work the same as you. And I'm very action oriented, get it done. He's military, so he's very systematic, which I'm kind of jealous of because he can stick to a routine. Me, I'm just all over the place sometimes, which is good and bad because I can go with the flow. But usually our day, we start off around 6 o'clock in the morning. We get up. A lot of times we'll take our dog for a walk. We'll, have our coffee and things like that. We do our devotions in the morning. Most of the time he works out. I do not. I try, but it just doesn't happen. I usually get involved in something else or start looking at an email. But usually by 8:30, we're diving into business. So following up with clients that have asked us questions, stuff that's actually going to make us money, things that come in from our CRM. So any ads that we're running, we tend to run Facebook ads and Google ads. So those ads that we run for leads, we do follow up with those first thing in the morning. So usually a lot of any calling that we're going to do, we try to do between 8 and 11, just because that's, believe it or not, when most people answer. And we can knock that out, do all those follow-ups. And then usually around 11 o'clock, we'll start looking at some emails and things that we need to get done or anything for any of our other businesses. Then usually around 12 to 1, we just take a break. We unwind, reset, get a lunch. I know some people like to do it quick, but that helps me to really shut down my mind for a minute and then restart. If not, I'm going to be dragging the rest of the day. And then usually after that, we tend to start setting appointments, or we'll have appointments that we need to do or errands that we need to run, whether it's with real estate side of things or our other businesses as well. Especially with the marketing business, I do have clients that I have to follow up with or have scheduled their stuff to be updated or look at their websites or help them get access to their accounts. So I usually handle all of that stuff. And then usually by the end of the day, we're tying up loose ends, planning what we need to do for the next day. But like I said, right now we have the real estate where we're working with clients, but we're also very actively, at least I am, he tends to handle more of the real estate clients. And then I'm handling all of our team, whether it's introducing agents to our brokerage and joining our group. So I'm handling that. So we're very active in that. And that takes a majority of my time on the real estate side and working together to do that. But then, we also have a surplus business. I have my marketing business. And then we do occasionally, we have somebody that does photo booth events for us because we own all the equipment. So we kind of had all that was kind of getting our license. So it's a lot to juggle, but it's just about communication. And one thing Tharmila and I talked about is really sticking to your time block schedule. You don't have to do the same task every day, but during that time block that this is income producing activities, am I talking to this person? Is it really going to make me money, or is this just another follow-up? Mm-hmm. And then moving into that admin time. And lately what I've been doing, and people don't like it, is I have been really like putting my phone on do not disturb and using another phone, just and staying away from Facebook, having it closed down, Instagram, because you tend to hear ding, 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 ding. And then you start checking emails, and then hours pass by, and you're like, oh, crap, I didn't really get to do anything. Oh, now it's admin time. So, and that happens to me a lot just because of my fast-paced personality. So that's something we really had to put in a schedule, and even he'll come in and go, oh, stop doing that, go do that. And then I've refocused again. So it's learning to work well with each other, and just sticking to something and being consistent is kind of our new path this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacob. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, so wow, I mean, that's a lot. And I'm like, wow, like now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I think I should be doing more, but no. Right.
That's the one thing.
Yes, and that's exactly it. So as I mentioned earlier, I do have a full-time job. So for me right now, being like, I guess like the biggest struggle even was trying to juggle both, right? Or trying to at least get the real estate going. So kind of like what I started to do is that my schedule consists of pretty much, it's the same Monday to Friday. The only change would be Saturday or Sunday. So Monday to Friday, usually what I like to do, or how I start off my day, I usually wake up like around 8. And how I like to start it, straight off within the 10, 15 minutes, either as soon as I get up, I like to start my day by like doing a meditation. I love meditating. I think that's very calming. I think that just sets like the tone and just my pace even for like the whole day. And straight after that, believe it or not, I get up and I start, for some reason, I put myself in this great headspace. I start cleaning. I start doing things that I would need to do on a daily basis at my place. Because I've noticed being at home and kind of like, again, having my full time in real estate, I didn't have a lot of time to do the things around the house that I needed to do. So I've noticed that in the morning, I'm extremely productive, and I'm, after my meditation, I'm wide awake. So I start doing that. I start tackling, little things to do around the house. Then 9 to like 6, let's say, I'm in my full-time job. Now that at some point it was like, trying to like separate both, right? Real estate and full-time. So now, similar to what Jacob does, is that I put my phone on silent. Like, and the thing is, because it's like, I feel like, if you're like constantly either thinking about one thing or thinking about the next, you're not really productive in one main thing, right? So ever since like I started noticing, I'm like, wait a second, am I thinking about this or am I thinking about that? So I noticed that doing that, putting the do not disturb and just putting the phone to the side really does help, right? And then I discipline myself for my morning or for my full-time job and for real estate, because then it's the same thing, right? And now that we're working from home, I used to be also the type that, carried my full-time job into like later in the evenings, right? Because there's a little bit more time. But then I thought about that. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make sense, because at the same time, whether I'm doing a second job, it doesn't leave time for me and for me to do things that I want to do. Yeah. Right. So then I cut that out. And again, I was very strict. And I think like even going back to that, it's like a lot of discipline. You do require discipline in order for you to be able to keep with any type of schedule. Right. So then that would be like 9 to 6, same after 6 p.m. I would exhausted from the morning, need to take again another short meditation, 30 minutes, meditation or even little nap. And then to transition over. And then I have pretty much 3 hours in the evening, right? In the evening, I was working those 3 hours. Again, when I started off, a few months ago, I was trying to just tackle everything. And then I noticed that by trying to tackle everything, a lot of things were either going, missed, or, I was not really finishing them. I was exhausting myself even, right? Like it was uncomfortable for me physically. Like forget about like just, like the work not getting done properly, like physically, mentally, I was even more exhausted than I think I should have been, right? And that's when I started to say, I'm like, you know what? I need to separate my time in the evening to be more productive and not all over the place. So now in the evenings, I am doing I don't do any prospecting during the week. However, what I do is that I make sure that I have a YouTube channel. So I make sure that my YouTube is up to date as well, right? I'm working either on videos, any clients or any people that or even my sphere, that's kind of like what's big right now. I try to nurture them. right? Check either listings for them or, put them on some type of game similar to Tharmila on a CRM where I can, just kind of like send them even weekly updates. So I do a lot of, let's say, administrative work throughout the week, right? Because I mean, night, like I have 3 hours or whatnot. On the weekends, however, that is when I try to do a lot of the income producing, right? And I've noticed that now it's like I'm going to start doing cold calling and I think a lot with that, it goes back into I'm big on making sure that you feel good when you're doing things. And I think a lot of these, even like techniques, whether it be like, not techniques, but sorry, like just prospecting, whether it be cold calling, door knocking, I noticed personally that I was psyching myself out. Right. I said, oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week, and then I just realized maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, that I was stopping myself because I was scared. Right. Because I was saying, I'm like, what am I going to do if this doesn't work out for me? Or if I go knock on a door and it doesn't work, and I think a lot of that, and even that I, try to teach on my channel. It's funny because I teach it on my channel and I practice it. But when I'm presented with that obstacle, it's like, what do I do? Right. So I noticed that on the weekends, that's what I try to do now, where I'm just get over myself in the sense of just doing it, stop procrastinating, being able to Tharmila, I even, we've spoken where, I've separated time blocked as well. Right. And I'm trying to do that at least 2 hours of actively just concentrating. If I'm going to do door knock for 2 hours. Right. If I'm going to do cold calling for 2 hours. Right. On the weekend as well, I do a lot of admin in the sense of trying to figure out my neighborhood, right? Where am I going to prospect? Right. I just don't want to go up, knock on the door and be like, hey, I'm here, are you looking to buy, sell, or whatnot? And they're like, yeah, how's the market? And maybe I don't know the particulars of that neighborhood. Right. So I try to do a lot of that as well on the weekend, simply because, again, I do have a little bit more time and there is more energy to do that. And hopefully even thinking down, I'm hoping one day my daughters, they are teenagers, they will help, daddy with going around and putting door hangers or whatnot. But for now, that's kind of how my week goes. So
yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, no, this is why I brought all of you guys together, because once you start really walking you through everything that you do, you'll realize that we all have different ways of juggling everything, right? Like, one thing you did mention that I want to talk about is that, when you work from home, how much, when I was full-time and I was working from home, working for a full-time job, not real estate, I realized that I was working more for that job than I did when I actually had to go into work. Because I realized, by the time I went from my desk to an office or to the washroom and came back, you would talk to people on the way. Here, I would go to the washroom, I come directly back to my desk, and then lunch, eating at my desk, and I don't realize. And so I love that you take little moments of breaks and meditating and kind of walking away. And this is why Jacob and I had to there are times Jacob and I were like, whoa, Miguel was waiting for me, my Josh is waiting, and the kids, and Josh is holding the kids, are you coming? And I'm like, one more thing I have to finish, Jacob needs this, so
10
that we
minutes
can work on this. And but we had some really harsh timelines that we were working on. And then I love that you touched upon this, Carlos. It's sometimes when it's too much, you're burning yourself out. That's why you remember when we had that conversation where I think your body was needing a little bit of a recollection where you need to kind of walk away from everything. That's why you are wanting to meditate, because your body goes into the survival mode, right? To protect you from that. So I'm really glad that we talked about that. So, and Marty and I talked about a lot of these things too. So and I love kind of how your schedule is kind of built. So can you share that with us, Marty?
Yeah, sure. So on my off days, that's when I try to have to have a strict schedule. So, and then there are some off days where I just don't do anything. If I don't have anything pertinent, and the way my job is set up, I work 50 hours a week and I don't have a set schedule. So I can work any day. I mean, I know my schedule for the upcoming 4 weeks. So I can plan 4 weeks in advance, but each day that I work is going to be different depending on the time or the day. So I might open 6 to 4 or close 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. And so on those days, when I'm at work, I get in, I try to like assist my clients during that time. So now I'm becoming like, I think I just dawned on me right now, I'm becoming very busy with clients. I have, I think, 3 active buyers. I'm not an active buyer anymore, so I don't have to worry about myself. So I have 3 active buyers, and that might not be a lot for some people, but when you have a full-time job, it is a lot. And trying to get, like right now, I just got a text from my client, like, hey, I want to see this house. The market is in a place where they can't wait till my off day. And I'm not going to pay someone to open the door for them. So I am like, okay, when can I fit this? Can I go and schedule this showing during my lunchtime? Or can I go after work? And so pretty much that's what I have to do. I learned how to do contracts on my phone, from my phone. So if I need to send a contract out, I can pretty much do just about everything from my phone, including like DocuSign and everything. So thankful for like Apple and technology. And I also, I guess I kind of got off topic, but while I'm talking about like when I'm at work, the way that I market and the way that I prospect only within the county that I live in. So that when I do get clients, they are looking in this area as well. And I can get anywhere in the county like 30 minutes. It's not like the highest price point, but it's not the lowest price point either. It's probably around our median or slightly above the median average. So that's working out good for me. But that's been my strategy because I have to keep it under control. So now back to my prospecting days, what that looks like when I'm off of work. I am usually, if I'm seeking active clients, I am wake up. Like I said, I think previously, I try to get up before my kids get up, because if I don't, it doesn't happen. So me and my husband work this out. Like every off day, I need 1 hour of prospecting at minimum in the morning. So I got a dialer and I call absentee owners for 1 hour. Sometimes I go a little over. I try to get 100 calls in. And I just do that. And actually, one of my clients now I got from doing that. So it's working. But my purpose in calling and prospecting in that way is to get seller leads, because I can manage those seller leads easier with my full-time job. Now, for the buyer side, usually after I've done prospecting, we'll eat as a family. I'll do some follow-up stuff with any other clients that need showings done or sending out offers or doing other things with them. And then once a week, me and my husband try to go out to film model homes within either our local community or going outside. So I think this past week we ventured out like an hour outside of where I live, higher price point, and it's still considered like in the Atlanta area. And so while we're out there to make it work with our time, we did 2 homes. So now I have content for 2 weeks. And that is a way that I am positioning myself to attract buyers. And again, I'd like to showcase homes, most of the homes that are in the county that I live in, or the surrounding areas, so that I can attract the people that want to move here, so it's easier for me. And I plan on doing this until I get 4 deals, and then I'm done. I'm burning the ship. That's it. Don't ask me about insurance. I don't know what we're going to do, but I priced it out. Okay. Like, this is what we need. And thankfully I'm glad I'm at a job where it doesn't take like too much to replace my income. So like if I was making like, in the 6 figures a year, it would be harder for me to leave my job, but I'm not. And then my husband, he also has his own business that is bringing in money. So he's like, hey, you don't have to work if you don't want to. And, honestly, I was just, staying on my full-time job until we closed on our house, which happened today. So I'm not going to quit it tomorrow, but I did come up with a plan.
Hey, this is live, eh?
Don't let them know
I read
yet.
my contract, like with my loan, I can't leave my job for 30 days. I can't change my employment for 30 days. So I'm like, okay, I'm at least going to be there for the next 30 days. But the goal is 4 deals, including this one right now. So I have 3 deals and I have 3 clients. So hopefully we can find them something soon. And going into full time, I want to be more strict with my prospecting schedule. Definitely want to set one day aside in the week where we're only doing home tours and we can just batch content. Even if we don't have a neighborhood to go to or a house to show, we can at least sit down and batch content. Like I said, my husband, he has a marketing company. So in all of our houses that we've had, we set up a studio in the garage. So we'll have like a studio where I just jump in front of the camera and just do what I need to do. And I want to be more strategic with the kind of content I'm putting out, long form on YouTube, but also like focusing on reels and for TikTok and Instagram. And because I think that's where, the algorithm is hitting right now. So I don't want to be, like, I want to be authentic to myself. So I'm not going to be like dancing. And I don't like the pointing thing. That's cool, but it takes too much time. It's too time consuming. I don't want to do that. I just want to film some stuff, do a voiceover, give good value. Whether it's like, hey, this is what you need, like, information related, or let's do a tour of the town, or my favorite place to eat, which I've done some of those stuff, some of my favorite places to eat. And that's really a big hit within my sphere. My sphere of influence. So I got another one coming up too, but they really like that. And I think that is a good way to become a hyper, Tom Ferry talks about a hyper local expert in your area. So I'm trying to focus on income producing activities that are a little bit of traditional, like prospecting and cold calling, because I do want to, go out there and get sellers and stuff like that. But I also want to bring in that social media prospecting aspect where you have people looking at your content and they get to know you and like you and trust you, and then they call you when they need you. But that takes a little longer to build. So that is pretty much what I'm doing right now, and I'm sure it'll change in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Marty. I just wanted to really highlight where you talked about like having a work that isn't like constant or stable. Like, for all of you guys that are like tuning in and watching this or going to be watching this, have you noticed that all of us are in completely different schedule, have a completely different way we're managing our business? And that's exactly the whole point, is that don't be hard on yourself. You manage what you can with however you want to. There's so many different prospecting idea. The most important is choosing one or two. That's why I love YouTube and social media, is you choose something that is evergreen, that is there working for you while you sleep. So that is passive, and it's kind of like, when you get 900 views, it's like, think of it like 900 door knocking. Not like everyone is going to sell, right? But it's going to work over time. Even I had an agent reach out to me through my TikTok. Yes, my TikToks don't have massive following like Carlos does, but it has, the viewers, but it's small, but it still reaches people, right? At the end of the day, put out content that people are going to enjoy and like, and that it shares your personality. And I love that you have a mix of both going on. And then you have something that is more active, like cold calling, like the way that Josh and I do. And then we have follow-up that we do. And so I think that if you were to choose, and I think that one of the biggest things why a lot of real estate agents, that 87% of real estate agents fail, is that because we take on too much and we're like, oh, that person's door knocking, so I'll do a little bit of door knocking. Maybe I'll do a little bit of cold calling. Maybe I'll do a little bit of, run a little event in the community, or I'll go meet people here and do this and do that. And then when you juggle too many things, you're not really building a database, which is the most important, especially for all of us who are somewhat newer in the real estate realm. So I think that, and also being conscious when things in our life are changing and we have to adapt to it. Like, for example, like when my nanny was leaving and we have to put the children in daycare, that completely changed our schedule. Now I actually literally have to get up, get them ready, feed them breakfast quickly enough to drop them off at a certain time, because there's a drop-off time, because we have 2 different children in 2 different cohorts. So we have to drop them off and pick them up at a certain time. So I have to manage all of that and pick them up. So I have to go again, get ready, leave my house now. It's as if I'm going to a job, right? So, but again, this gave us an opportunity for Josh and I, hey, for the first time ever, now I'm forced to go to sleep a little bit earlier, even though I'm a night owl. And it's very hard, as you can see, I'm still posting at like 1 a.m. And then And then waking up early, but guess what? I'm not forced to wake up early and get ready. So this makes me go to work. So take advantage of however kind of lifestyle that you're dealing with. So don't be hard on yourself. And that's kind of my advice. And I would love it if all of you can kind of share some of your learnings from just listening to each other, and you know, what kind of your outlook for people that are going to be watching this, and in particularly any agents that are, or people. This is my one of, honestly, I cannot, why I thought this was really important for all of us to come together is not only to share some of our expertise, because I sat with each and every one of you and you shared with me what you're dealing with on a life level and work and how you're balancing it all. And I'm like, this is huge for other people to know, not only the challenges but also like all the small wins that we're dealing with. Like you, when you cold called and you started doing that, you got clients. Same thing with us, and you'll notice Carlos have people reaching out in his sphere that he was nurturing, and same thing with Jacob. Like, I think naturally we're building this business in a way that it's, things are coming together. And I want to tell people, especially new real estate agents, agents in the process of getting their license, or people who've been in the industry for some time and they feel like they're stuck. I want to let you know that you can reach out to any one of us and we could partner with us. We work with agents on a weekly basis. This is what we do. This is our forte. And you'll notice a lot of real estate agents aren't like this. We're literally from completely different provinces and states. And look at you guys, you're in Houston, Atlanta, and even Carlos and I in different parts of Toronto, and we're all connected virtually, this online community through the Wolfpack group. And that's why we have the Wolfpack logo over there. And it's because our community is, we're all about helping each other, building each other's business, masterminds, sharing ideas, and that's what it's all about. So I do wanted to give a little plug in to say you can reach out to any one of us, and you can see our whether it's through Instagram, through YouTube, through Facebook, or even LinkedIn, connect with us, and we're happy to plug you into all of the resources that we have available. And what makes our group super unique is that, that's why I want to talk about scheduling, is that we're all about giving back more time to our agents so they can spend doing things they love, and in particularly putting it towards income producing activities. So lastly, I wanted to talk about too is that one of my biggest advice is, when you think about distraction, is sometimes you'll realize that some, you know, especially with the new year starting, new opportunities will come to you, you know, and because you have an open mind, I'm ready for this year. But it could be, you have to look at it, you know, enough to look at that opportunity as, is this a distraction that's going to derail me from this goal that I'm working towards, or is this actual opportunity? And I think that's kind of my learning right now. And one last thing I want to say before I pass it on is that, you know, it's okay to plan, but it's okay to plan for things to not go right either. And it's, I think, leaving room for things to kind of work on itself, for, you know, for things to be, it is what it is, that moment where something could surprise you is also very it's lovely. And I think that people often don't take that in. And we want to, I'm a planner. I come from also a marketing events background, everything. Yeah, Jacob smiling, yes, I'm very much a planner, and I love that aspect of me. But I also love when the best part is when things are falling apart, and, you know, and not in a bad way, where things aren't quite going right, and you get to kind of challenge yourself and find solution and move forward, and that's how you become resilient. So I just wanted to mention that when I'm listening to all of you, those are some of my takeaways. So Jacob, when you were listening to all of us, what were some of your takeaways and some advice you have for people? It's particularly newer agents and anyone who kind of struggling with this kind of schedule and staying disciplined.
Yeah, I mean, my advice, whether you're working by yourself or you're partnering with your partner or a business partner, especially if you're working by yourself, you know, having that schedule and staying consistent. You talked about distractions. It happens a lot because, you know, even on the marketing side, this happened with clients where people would try running a Facebook ad, and after 3 or 4 days, they didn't get the leads they wanted, they stopped. And I would even have this conversation. Hey, it's a 60 to 90 day commitment. Then we'll reevaluate. And that happens a lot with real estate agents. I think the number one reason that real estate agents fail is not consistent. And we've talked about this, and, you know, whether it's they are just getting desperate for a deal because they need to make money, and then they end up wasting more time, or maybe they have a lot going on and, oh, I'll do it for a couple of weeks, and if it doesn't work out, I'll do something else. So number one takeaway would just be consistent. Whatever you're going to try one thing and just go from there, especially if you're not a person that can handle a lot Like, for instance, my husband and I are two different types of people. He's very single task, and I tend to take on 10 tasks at one time. Even when I don't need to, I still do it. It's just my personality. I'm a quick thinker. I'm very action oriented. I don't like to sit still. And he likes to focus on one thing and move. So know your strengths and weaknesses, especially with who you're working with. And if you're a person that is fast paced, make sure you find a way to not get yourself distracted, but get a lot accomplished. And if you're a person that can only take on one or two things at a time, don't take on more than that. And I think another big thing, and Marty kind of had talked about this, but I liked her kind of method to it, but she was judging herself based on what other realtors were posting. And I think a lot of times with our schedules, like Carlos even made a comment, oh, wow, now I don't feel like I'm doing enough. It's because we're judging what everybody else's goals are with ours, and they're totally different things. And Tharmila and I, even working together, we butted heads where, oh, I'm used to getting all this stuff done. Well, I'm used to doing this stuff. And you can't compare like what you get accomplished with what somebody else gets accomplished. It's equally important. So my kind of takeaway for everybody is, don't look at all the other realtors and all the deals they're closing. Yeah, if you're not doing anything, yeah, you got to be accountable to yourself, but really know what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of people, I think, just get their license like, oh, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I just want to try it, see how it goes. But there's no like end result and end goal. For me, the only reason I decided to get my license and go as far as I did with this, because the first reason was to get my license because I knew he wouldn't do it without me. Like, I'm a quick studier, I'm a quick thinker on tests, and I kind of guided him through that and got licensed. But once I found EXP, it aligned with my business goals, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Like, this is a great business, especially agent attraction side. Like, building an organization, everybody becomes a realtor to become a broker, so you have a sales team. I have businesses, so I can become a business owner and assign in that wealth quadrant where you're not self-employed, where if you don't work, you don't eat, but now you have a business. And that just fit for me. So really know where you're going with your business, what you want to accomplish, and do not let anybody or anything derail you. Learn to say no. We've talked about that a lot, Tharmila and I, is learning to even say no to each other, which kind of feels like a slap in the face sometimes. But at the end of the day, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. So learn to say no, stay focused, and learn what you're good at and stick to that. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so much, Jacob. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, and I guess I'm going to piggyback off of Jacob's because I can kind of relate with that as well. And it's like being able to stay true to who you are too, right? Being yourself. I remember that when I first started my YouTube channel, my brother, he used to film a lot of my videos, and he still does. But I remember one video we were filming, and then, whatever, I got, I guess, into a mood. And then I started going, right? I started saying my script and started, just with the video. And then he goes to me, he's like, Carlos, he's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, why? He's like, it doesn't sound like you. Like, why do you look so stiff? Why do you sound so different? I'm like, really? I'm like, he's like, yeah. He's like, Carlos, like, do who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Don't just because you're in front of the camera or like, on social media or whatnot, like, you don't have to be someone different, especially like I think like even in real estate, right? It's like you want people to also work with you and know you for who you are, right? Build those connections. Mm-hmm. And when he said that to me, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, I think I was trying to put on a persona that I thought would be a real estate agent, right? A realtor. But it's like, no, I think like, who am I as a real estate agent? Right. And I think that's important. And also another thing that did come up, and this came up also with Tharmila when I was having a conversation with you, when you are trying to step outside of your comfort zone, right? Because obviously, we are growing as individuals and we do want to, experience something different and whatnot. What I think, and I was doing, and to some extent I do, and I try not to do anymore, is self-sabotage.
Big time.
So I think that's when we are trying to try a different, prospecting technique, right? Whether it be, again, cold calling or door knocking. When I had my conversation with you, Tharmila, what stood out was when you told me, you're like, Carlos, why are you scared for something that you haven't even done yet?
Yeah.
And that's what's holding you back, right? Because like how I said, I have a full-time job, I have my 9 to 5, and I was telling Tharmila, I'm like, I don't have time. Like, what if I get all these clients and I can't handle them, right? Because I don't have the time, right? Like, when am I going to do it? When am I going to take care of them? And Tharmila's like, do you have them now? Like, do you have 10, 20 clients lining up? And then, so then in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I think that's what I was doing, right? I think I was self-sabotaging myself because I was putting all these different obstacles. And I think that's one great thing even about like our team is like, or our group, is that there is a lot of support in the group, and I think that's the greatest thing that also attracted me to the group, is because I felt that. And here we're not like, okay, who's better than the other one? It's like, okay, you know what? We kind of recognize who we are, or we're working on ourselves, on our strengths, on our weaknesses, and we help each other like overcome those weaknesses and, just make those strengths even stronger. Right. So I think those are the biggest realizations that I've come to very recently, is that, right, be true to who you are. And when you are trying to step outside from that, try not to self-sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we try to be so hard on ourselves for no reason. Marty and I talked about like this fear of our success, like, right? I'm also afraid of that too, right? What if my team grows to 50, 100 people? And I know that was one of my goals, but I'm meeting with all of you one-on-one. What am I going to do with 50? But it's okay. When I get there, I will have systems and tools in place. I already do now, but if 5 years ago, if I looked at where I am right now, I would freak out. How would I handle this? Whoa, I'm working for myself now. I don't have a manager, someone telling me what to do. Oh my gosh, right? But because we're not quite there yet, and our body evolves. Remember when we're younger and you would look at someone who's in high school and like, whoa, they're in high school. Would that be hard? Like school must, like, how are they dealing with that? And then I don't know, I'm like that. I'm not just envious, but also this fear, like, how is high school like, right? And then you get to high school and you're like, oh, okay, and then you look at grade 11 and you're like, ooh, how's grade 11 and grade 12? Oh my God, college and university, what is this? And then you get there and you just figure it out. And same with me, like Marty, Carlos, like you can relate to as being parents, right? Mind blown. Like, I think I've never gone through anything more life-changing than having children. And like carrying children, being pregnant. And I have a whole series coming about this that I'm even doing with Marty on all around real estate agents and being parents, because that is a completely different ballgame. And I have different people that I'm going to be sharing stories with, and I hope people tune into this. It's because of exactly that. And I want to hear from Marty as well. And I know you and I talked a lot about similar things that Jacob and Carlos brought in, so I'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, so Jacob stole mine.
What he said.
I have multiple. He stole one of mine, and it was, don't compare yourself to other people, other agents, other successful business people. Don't try to figure out like, why am I not making multiple six figures, $1 million? How am I going to make $1 million as an agent? Like, what? Let's just start with oneself first. So don't jump the gun and just start comparing, because what is it? Comparison is a thief of joy, and you cannot. Sorry, hit my computer. You cannot do that. And then the second one is don't try to do too much. Do what you have time for, and if you don't have time for it, don't do it, because the deals will come. Just stay consistent. I would say pick 1 or 2 things to be income producing activities for you, and just do those. And there are a lot of things. We get so much stuff in our emails. Social media marketing comes across, and you're like, oh wow, I can get all these leads to my phone, and all I have to do is wait. No. So just, stick with your plan, and don't let anybody, get you off of it, and try it. Like Jacob said, like 30 to 60 days. I'm even saying I'm trying this for Q1. And after Q1, if it doesn't work, we're going to try something different. But at the very least, we're going to do this. But everybody's always going to be, attracting, their sphere of influence just by posting on social in general. So that's one consistent thing that I feel like, everyone should do. But like I said, just stick to a couple of things, be good at those, and don't compare yourself to other agents.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you, Marty. And I think that this really is the learning that we want to share with you. Is this is the type of community it feels like to be part of our group, and that's why we're coming on here and sharing these stories and sharing these conversations, because this is exactly what it feels like to be part of our group. And if any of the things you resonated with when you heard Carlos, Jacob, myself, or Marty when we're speaking, feel free to get in touch with us. Connect with us also we're all online on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We all have YouTube content being produced, so watch our content, connect with us. We're also on Instagram. You can find Jacob on JM Shireman, and you can find Marty on Marty Loves Home, and Carlos Realtor, and myself, Tavares and Rajasingam. That's my husband and I Instagram account. So feel free to connect with us. We'll love to connect with you and speak to you about some of the way that we're juggling. You won't believe, just putting out content on social media. I even have my kids screaming in the background. Some people have got in touch with me because of that reasons to ask, hey, how are you juggling? Can you share me your schedule? And you'll be surprised how many people like us, we were all struggling with this at one point, right? And now we're kind of gone through that and going through phases, I guess, right? We grow, we learn, and then now we get to share. And and even the struggles, right? We get to share with other people to say, hey, this is a normal part of your business. It's funny, we all that's the part about social media, is that I love that Jacob, Marty, and Carlos, you guys touched upon, is like, don't compare yourself to other people, because everyone shares all the good times, the wins, the ones with the soul signs, but no one ever talks about the 3 offers that got rejected. Guess what? My last 3 buyers I worked with, yes, all 3 of we're in a nutty market right now, in a crazy market, right? And all of our buyers, and we're real estate agents now, we have to be therapists to our buyers, right? Be like, you're gonna find a home, I'll do my, and it's not even just you, it's the market. And it's okay. It's super natural for you to go through those, I guess, ups and downs. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We wanted to give it a try on Friday night, since, everyone's at home doing COVID, right? So
seems like it.
Yeah, I really appreciate all of you kind of tuning in. And if there's a topic that you want us to talk about or touch on, we'll love to. This is everything that we talk about, everything from marketing, lead generation, YouTube, about social media, how to do business, how to prospect. This is the type of things you get when you join our group. And I'm particularly, Jacob and I realized that a lot of agents were coming into our group who had no background in marketing. They've never done social media posts professionally for business. And they were struggling every day. Like, all of their income producing activity time was going towards them 2 to 4 hours figuring out what to post. And all of us, even to this day, right, it takes a lot of time trying to come up with content for Instagram and even just Facebook, LinkedIn, and figuring out how to leverage. And YouTube is a totally different ball game, right? Because there's a whole process to that, from writing script to filming to editing. So Jacob and I created this product that we provide to all of our agents for free. It's called kvCORE. It's a social media platform where you have all of your social media posts done for you every single day. We have it's 2-part, actually. There's some templates that we have that's done with templates that you can edit, caption, and hashtag. And there's content where we give you strategies of how to build your personal brand, because at the end of the day, real estate isn't about just selling a property or a house, right? It's about lifestyle. People are coming to a community, so you want to sell them all the things that to do with that community and what it's like to work with you. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, all the things you have access to. And you get to be part of our amazing group that's co-founded by Mike Sherrard and Connor Steinbrook, and you get to have access to us on a weekly basis, and you get to work. And Marty's in Atlanta, like I said, Jacob's in Houston, and myself and Carlos in the Greater Toronto area. And we'll love to work with you and partner with you. And if you have any questions around what it's like to work with us, please get in touch with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye, guys.